Okay, it is Friday, June the 28th today, and we're going to do another newspaper article. But if anybody would like to join the live class that will happen later on today, all you have to do is go and buy a course from my website, skype-lessons.com, for £7, and you will be welcome in today's class, which is at 3 o'clock London time. So let's have a look at this article here in the Daily Mail. Award-winning midwife. Now, I'll quickly talk about the hyphen. Hyphens are used for compound adjectives, mostly. And this is a compound adjective, a two-word adjective. It's describing the midwife. A midwife is somebody who delivers a baby, who helps women to deliver their babies, yeah? And this midwife is award-winning. That means that she has won awards for her skills as a midwife. So this award-winning midwife is suspended. That means she's been told she can't work for the next, well, it's a 12-month suspension. So why has she been suspended from her job? Well, award-winning midwife is suspended after telling pregnant shop worker, so a pregnant shop assistant, not to wear a face mask because it may harm her baby, and warning mothers-to-be to avoid COVID and flu jabs. Okay, remember, a jab is an injection. It's a shot. Also, they call it a shot sometimes. It's a vaccination. Okay, so an award-winning midwife has been suspended for a year after she urged a pregnant shop worker not to wear a mask during the pandemic in case it harmed her unborn child. Now, that's a good example of in case. I think a lot of students find this conjunction quite difficult, perhaps because you don't have something similar in your own language. But remember that it means as a precaution against. That's what it means, in case. And so she told the person not to wear a face mask during the pandemic as a precaution against the harm it may cause her unborn child. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, so Northern Ireland NHS worker Shiana Kerr was in a store when she approached the woman who was 27 weeks pregnant. Now, that's a non-defining relative clause. That's why it's in commas. It's in commas because it's non-defining. It's not defining which woman. This is just extra information about the woman. And said she believed that a face covering would reduce the amount of oxygen her baby was receiving. Well, I think that that's probably the case, because when you wear a covering over your mouth, you reduce the amount of oxygen that you're taking into your lungs. And of course, if you're pregnant, the baby gets the oxygen from you. Miss Kerr made clear she was a midwife and also suggested to the mother-to-be, and look at that, that's an example of using hyphens for a compound noun. Yeah, mother-to-be is a noun, but occasionally you will see hyphens used for compound nouns and even compound verbs. But generally speaking, you see hyphens most of the time for compound adjectives. Okay, so she suggested to the mother-to-be that she should consider rejecting the offer of a flu vaccination as a precaution against, in case it increased the risk of her baby being stillborn. Now, a stillborn baby is the sad case when a baby is not born alive, and so this is a type of miscarriage. We had the word miscarriage in a previous class, and in this class we're getting stillborn, and she was worried it might increase the risk of her baby being being stillborn, so not being born at all. A disciplinary hearing heard. The pregnant woman, known only as Patient A, okay, so she's anonymous, the victim in this situation is anonymous, but the midwife is certainly not anonymous. But the pregnant woman, known only as Patient A, and you can consider that a non-defining participle phrase. It's a participle phrase because known is a participle. But notice that it's exactly the same as the pregnant woman who is known only as Patient A. And if you say who is known, you've got a non-defining relative clause. Said she was left highly distressed by the incident because it was her first pregnancy and she wanted to ensure she was doing the best for her child. Well, who better to listen to than a midwife? A Nursing and Midwifery Council panel has suspended Miss Kerr for 12 months over the incident and her social media posts about COVID-19 at the height of the pandemic. as well as the use of masks, Miss Kerr, who won Northern Ireland's Excellent in Midwifery Award in 2018, so I suppose that means she is the best midwife in Northern Ireland, or certainly was in 2018, and she was also nominated for a further award in 2020, so she sounds like she knows what she's doing to me, spoke out against, now remember this guys, to speak out against something, it means to publicly declare that you are against something. And so in spite of the fact that this was dangerous for her, I mean after all she isn't allowed to do her job now, she spoke out against pregnant women having the flu jab and the COVID vaccination, calling it a trial. Now, a trial is obviously where you are doing some kind of experiment on people, and she seems to be suggesting that these jabs and vaccinations were a kind of experiment, and ordinary people were guinea pigs. Remember this word guinea pig for when you're doing experiments and science, because we very often use the word guinea pig for any animal or person who is being used. In fact, we usually use it for people rather than for animals, but who are being used as trial. You know, they're testing out a certain medicine to see if it works or if it doesn't work, if it causes side effects or adverse reactions. So in a Facebook post, she allegedly wrote, now I don't know why they've used the word allegedly, because obviously she wrote this. We don't, it sounds strange to say allegedly wrote when you actually have the Facebook post. And so I think including that word is rather silly. But in a Facebook post, she wrote, "I am not proud that babies are still being attacked in the womb." Now remember, womb is what a woman has, and that's nowadays a controversial thing to say, sadly. But a womb is something that a woman has, and it's where the baby develops. It's where the fetus, it's where the unborn child develops and grows. So they're being attacked in the womb through vaccination of mothers during pregnancy. And I am not proud that when babies die in the womb, that the coroner, now the coroner is a medical expert who looks at the reasons for different deaths, okay? So when babies die in the womb, that the coroner in this country, Northern Ireland, is not asking the question, was this mother vaccinated? So they're not asking that question. It's obviously something that's not important whatsoever. And there we have a picture of Shiana Kerr, the midwife, the award-winning midwife who has now been punished for her opinions. The panel said there were more videos of Miss Kerr expressing views on social media that were against clinical advice during a national health crisis. Miss Kerr, who worked for the NHS Southern Health Trust in Northern Ireland, has said she did not deny any of it and cannot regret a word I said. So no regrets, and she certainly doesn't deny it. I stood on principle for what I believed in, and I still believe that this matters, she said. It sounds like it matters to me. She was accused of, now remember these reporting verbs, guys. You accuse somebody of doing something, or you can be accused of doing something. So she was accused of giving advice during the pandemic that was contrary to the position of your employer and or the World Health Organization. That's that organization that wants to be criticized, you remember? Remember in the previous class they were claiming that they want to be criticized, and here is a person who criticized them and then immediately lost her job, and it's an award-winning midwife, somebody who is the best in the country at what she does. And she has been punished for criticizing the World Health Organization and or mainstream medical opinion, a report said. She also allegedly said that the pandemic was a Trojan horse. Okay, this is the very often used metaphor from Greek, from Homer, and it's the Battle of Troy, of course, where the Greeks used a Trojan horse to get inside the city walls, and then they massacred the Trojans. And so she's describing the pandemic as a Trojan horse intended to introduce a new era for humanity. Following a hearing this month, a nursing and midwifery council panel found a series of charges Shiana faced were proved I would say were proven. I don't like proved. I always say proven. Were proven and gave unsolicited advice. You know what they say about unsolicited advice? Nobody wants unsolicited advice to someone outside of a clinical relationship. The panel found that her fitness to practice is impaired due to misconduct and suspended her for 12 months. Miss Kerr did not attend the hearing in June, but said after the suspension that she considered herself a whistleblower. So a whistleblower is somebody who speaks out against an injustice of some kind. And so obviously she has spoken out against what she perceives as an injustice. And that is the medicine and the medical advice that was being given and is still being given to pregnant women during the pandemic. Complaints about her emerged in the autumn of 2020. The panel's report said in October 2020 concerns were raised. So you raise concerns, guys. You raise the alarm, and you also raise concerns to the trust about alleged posts. Why alleged? Yeah, I don't understand why they're alleged. Alleged makes it sound like we're not sure that she wrote them. And Miss Kerr admits that she wrote them. She is proud that she wrote them, and it seems to me that everybody knows that she wrote them, and so they're not alleged. Miss Kerr made on social media, in which she identified herself as a midwife, which she is, and expressed views which suggested that vaccinations given to pregnant women could cause harm to unborn babies, something that you're not allowed to do apparently as a midwife. It was further alleged she expressed negative comments, how dare she, about the national response to COVID-19 and suggested that healthcare professionals were complicit in this response. A trust investigation was commenced. Subsequently, in November 2020, a complaint was received that Miss Kerr gave unsolicited advice, never give unsolicited advice, to a pregnant woman who was working in a shop where Miss Kerr was a customer. So it sounds like she was just speaking to somebody out of the kindness of her heart and offering some advice, but her advice was not wanted. It is alleged that Miss Kerr advised her that she should not accept the flu vaccination due to being pregnant, as it had the potential to increase the risk of stillbirth. Yeah, so again we've got this word stillbirth, and the adjective earlier was stillborn, a stillborn child, and it means a miscarriage. Yeah, that sad case when a baby dies before they're actually born. They die in the womb. It was alleged that Miss Kerr also told the woman, who was visibly pregnant, that she should not be wearing a face mask whilst pregnant due to the risk of reduced oxygen to the unborn baby. I think we'll leave it there for today, but thanks for listening. Please put your comments below. I look forward to reading them.